Shabbat Shalom. Hi, nice to meet you all. So, quick show of hands. Who's ever heard the saying, it's what's on the inside that counts? Yeah, I'm not going to count. Math is not my thing. I'm going to be a rabbi, but it seems like most of you. It's a really popular saying. And it's a lesson we try and teach our children. It's a lesson that we're taught a lot in school and by our parents. It's what's on the inside that counts. It's who you are on the inside. It's not the outside stuff that really matters. But is it really always true? Is it what's on the inside that counts all the time? In Parshat Truma, the section from the book of Exodus that we're reading this week, God gives Moses instructions for the people of Israel to build the Mishkan, the very ornate box that the tablets of the Torah are going to be carried around in as the Israelites wander through the desert for 40 years. God said, Sipita oto zahav tahor, cover the box in pure gold. Mibait umchutz tzapenu, cover it outside and inside. Ve'asita alav zer zahav saviv, and make a golden wreath all around it. Wow. It's very fancy, very fancy. It's a wooden box, plain by all other accounts, but covered inside and out in pure gold, topped with a golden wreath, a golden garland. This is the box that the first usable Torah tablets are going to be carried around in. So it sounds good, but the rabbis of the Talmud, the very early collection of Jewish laws and stories, they didn't like it. It's not that they didn't like it, they just didn't understand this line. Great, you're building a box that you're going to put the Torah in, and it should be beautiful. Today we place our Torah in Aron Kodesh. Literally translates to a holy cupboard. Doesn't sound very nice, but we know it as the very often or very ornately decorated special place in the front of the sanctuary where the Torah is kept. It's facing east, so when we pray and we bow, we pray and bow in its direction. And they're beautifully decorated. This is a very nice one. I've seen some other very nice ones in this very synagogue. I've seen stained glass, mosaics, and richly embroidered cloths and etched metals. Even the plainest wooden Aron Kodesh have something to distinguish them, something to make them pretty, make them beautiful on the outside. Because it's where we keep the Torah. It's where we keep God's reminder to us that we're Jews. We are a people distinct. We're a people with a history. We're a people with responsibilities to each other and to God. So it makes sense. It makes total sense that God should instruct the people to make the Mishkan, the portable Aron Kodesh, a portable ark, covered in gold. But that still doesn't explain, and the rabbis find this very unnerving, why it should be gold on the inside. Outside, sure, but why inside? It's not like you're going to go in there and look at it. It's not like your average person could even see the Mishkan most of the time. So how would you even know what's going on inside there? Why bother? One of the rabbis had an answer, and I think it's really beautiful. He was called Rava, and he said that this instruction about building the Mishkan, gold on the inside, gold on the outside, is talking really about a Talmid Chacham, a Torah scholar whose inside is not like their outside. They study Torah all day and all night. They seem so glittery and so great, but inside they're ugly. Because they can read all day about giving tzedakah, but they don't give. They study how terrible Lashon Hara is, how terrible it is to gossip, but they live for the drama on the inside. They study the words and the values of our tradition, and they enjoy the look of being a person who studies the words and values of our tradition. They enjoy that prestige. But their inside is not shiny and golden. They have not internalized those lessons. This, Rava says, this is a person who can never truly be a Talmid Chacham, could never truly be a student of our Torah, because their inside doesn't match their outside. This is why those original Torah tablets were supposed to be kept in a box that was golden outside and in, to show us that true Torah, true wisdom, true goodness, resides in a person whose insides and outsides match, who takes the lessons our tradition teaches us of being a good person and believes them, who lives them. Fine, this is a very beautiful lesson. We should all certainly take it to heart, but isn't real life more complicated than this? More complicated than saying, be a good person on the inside, not just the outside. Most of us are trying to be good people, I assume. We're trying to match our outside actions to our inside values, but it's actually often, it's really hard. It reminds me of Purim, which we're going to celebrate in a week, a holiday about masks. About the masks we wear, and all of us are wearing masks, not just on Purim, but year-round. We might not even do it purposefully. We might not think we're being disingenuous to ourselves, but think. Has there ever been a time when you felt like you had to appear to be someone you're not? Different on the outside than you are on the inside. To act in a certain way, to talk a certain way, to cry a certain way, to buy certain things, and not because they're true reflections of you, but because you're just conscious of how it appears, of how you look to other people. I think we're all guilty of that. I know I am. When I'm thinking, when I first came to school, to rabbinical school, I was one of a dozen little baby rabbis-to-be incubating in the same petri dish in our entering class. And it really is a petri dish. We were so eager to prove to ourselves, to each other, to God. We kind of egged each other on. Not even directly. The environment of our school of our class really became one of one-upsmanship, where everyone felt like they had to be the best student, the sharpest Torah scholar, the most religiously observant. But some people just didn't study ancient Hebrew and Aramaic all through school. Some people went to public school. And I started to feel bad. And I started to be not so nice, mostly to myself, which is awful if you haven't ever had that experience, but we all have, because who really needs that nasty voice in their head telling them that they suck to be amplified? You don't need that. No one needs that. And I think it made all of us not so nice to each other, because we felt insecure in who we were and what we were doing, and it made us less compassionate. Eventually, I figured out, and I think we all did, that there's just no point. There's no point in comparing one student to the other, one person to the other, one Jew to the other, that we all have different backgrounds, we all have different natural strengths. We all bring something unique to our future rabbinate, and that if you're not golden inside and out, you've missed the point. And I think all of us can think of our lives, of times in our lives, or in school or at work, in your family, where you're comparing yourself. You were thinking of yourself as different on the outside and the inside, and you're worrying, and that worrying makes you be not nice to yourself and not nice to others. And I think it's important to remember to have that compassion for yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what the Torah is telling us. That it's what's on the inside and outside that count, that we should take the Torah's teaching on being kind and being helpful and generous to heart, and that living in them will take action on the outside. That's why the Mishkan, that's why the Ark had to be gold inside and out, and that's why it's topped with that Zer Zahav, that golden wreath. To wrap both parts together, you need to do both. You need to internalize the values and you need to act on the values. That's why you need that wreath. You need to have all of them together so that the two parts of the Mishkan and the two parts of ourselves can be whole. So we can strive for holiness. In Hebrew, we say shlemut, wholeness, and the root is shalom, and that's peace. And that's my wish for all of us today and always. Shabbat shalom.